longer. I mean, that might be part of it, but I called you to be a good person. God is not, doesn't, he calls people, he didn't call me to be a preacher. I mean, yes, that's part of the call, but he called me to be a good person. That's what he calls us to be. There's a spirit, we've had a wonderful spirit of love here. Now, part of love is putting up with each other when we mess up. Everybody messes up. Everybody doesn't always have the most love they should have. But sometimes people will come, and most people come in and will say, oh, I just felt love. And but sometimes people will say, no one loves me. They'll go to church. No one loved me. No one called me. No one loves me. And I say, but you know what? I've got good news for you. It's okay, because God didn't call you to be loved by people. So it's okay. It's great. God didn't call you to be loved, so you're not missing anything. God didn't call you to be loved. He didn't call you to feel love. He called you to love. He called you to stop feeling sorry for yourself. He called you to be good. Good. People, when you feel sorry for yourself, you're not good. You're looking on you. He called you to be good. All these believers who feel sorry for themselves, pouting and complaining and storming out and storming in, and forget it. Whatever the issue is, forget it. You're losing it. You're losing it. That's why the tests come. That's why the persecution comes. That's why the majority of most people who name the name of the Lord in any country, when the persecution comes, they sell out. Because they had other goals ahead of him. And the persecution revealed it. Status, comfort, popular, survival. So when the chance came, the choice came, they lost. If someone offered you $10 million to compromise, would you do it? Would you turn? If someone said, I'm going to kill you, if you preach the gospel, if you speak the gospel, I'm going to kill you, would you still preach the gospel? Turn to Romans 16 as we bring it home. Romans 16, verse 10. Verse 2. Verse 1. I commend you to our sister Phoebe, a servant of the church in Cenchrea. I ask you to receive her in the Lord in a way that is worthy of the saints, as in a way that becometh the saints, and to give her any help she may need from you, for she's been a great help to me, to many people, including myself. What Paul's saying is, live in a way that is becoming of a saint. He's got to tell them that, because they might not, even though they're supposed to be saints. People look at church history, you see all the church who are canonized, and you look at church history, and church history is pretty rotten. I mean, what is called church history. But yet there are shining stars within it, of true believers. And we ask you, do you believe in the saints? People say, do you believe in the saints? I believe in the saints. I believe in the saints. Saint Jimmy, Saint Sue, Saint Sam, Saint Bill. It says in Philippians 4:21, it says, salute every saint. So I believe we should be saluting every saint. It says, I believe in petitioning the saints for favors. Asking the saints for favors like this. Like, hey, Saint Bill, could you help clean the bathroom? The saints of the Lord. I believe in asking the saints to intercede for us. Like, hey, Reuben, can you pray for me? I admit I do believe in the veneration of the saints. Like, like, hey, Saint Sue, she's such a blessed person. She's such a godly person, what she did, and lifting up the saints, venerating them. See, we're going to put Jimmy in stained glass. We're going to have statues here. No. See, the point is we are all to be saints. We are all, it sounds funny, but it's really true. What's important to God is not, in the end, all the things that are going to matter is just that. What did we live a good life? Did we have a good heart? A heart of goodness. That's love. It's not going to be the color of the carpet. It's not going to be how much you raised your hands. It's not going to be how much you spoke in tongues. It's not going to be the status or the money. God will say, I never had the slightest care about most of the stuff most of that stuff. And you strive for. And the ministry, well, I was looking for one thing, goodness. That's who God is good. So I was looking for one thing, goodness. I wasn't looking how much you spent hours that you said it was in the Spirit, and in that Spirit you judged everybody for being less spiritual than you. That was garbage. I wanted to see love and humility and goodness. I don't care if you had prophecies and you called yourself a prophet, and in that name you judged other people continuously. You looked down on them, you messed up and you lost it. Pursuing all sorts of things, you gained the world, you lost the soul. The Lord said, you would be greatest among you. Whoever would be greatest, you seek to be greatest, become the servant of all. The Lord said, if you want to be complete, give away what you have, follow me. Bless the poor, follow me. Here is Richard Wurmbrand, a life of serving God. 14 years in prison, 4 years in solitary confinement with chains, with tortured for his faith, and he held out for God. And he served the Lord every day of his life. He preaches, he's 88, he still preaches in bed. And yet he saw a vision saying, you planned so many things, why did you never plan to become a saint? And it will be asked of you, what was your point? What was the point? So you'll say, you're talking and say, what's the point? Your life, you know, a million things in your life, and God is saying, what's the point? What's the purpose? What is your point? What is it? Because in the long run, it will not matter if you're a successful minister or wife, or that's good, but were you a good person? You will most likely never have a stained glass window, or a statue, or a children's home named after Saint You. And you will have not, yet you are nonetheless called to live a life of sainthood. Kiddushim, the holy ones of God who shine like the stars. A life that is character. So many things that we pursue and we're ambitious. Take that ambition, take that pursuing, take that zeal to get that thing and take it and put it to God's goodness. Be zealous to get God's goodness. Be zealous to take that and say, I plan for so many things. Frank said, you write down a plan. I plan to be good. Put the strategy in God, but God's going to anoint it. I've seen him do this. He takes feisty people. He takes people who choose to say, I'm going for it, Lord. And then, but when it's good, not for selfishness, but for good, choose to be good. I want a plan to live a life that is great in God. How do I do that? How do I become more loving? That's my goal. If I'm in a traffic jam, it's not to get where I'm supposed to go. I'm supposed to be in that traffic jam and be a saint there. I want to be ambitious for that. Ambitious for good. Take all the energy instead that you use for other things, instead to become the best person by God's grace and his Spirit. To become so filled. He'll do it. We spend so little energy doing that. We just think that's just going to happen. We must want it. Seek it. Goodness, righteousness. In the time you've got left, let us put away childish things. And press on, Paul says, to the upward call. God only has an upward call. It doesn't have you going down. Only up. But going up takes a little bit of work. And God's grace. God is saying, not to the people of past ages, not to Saint whatever, Barnabas, Saint this, Saint that, Saint that. You are now. You are now in the running. It's you. You are his saints. You are to be. Not to the famous people. God is saying to you now, it is time to become a saint.